Can you lose weight without workouts? Theoretically, yes. Do you want to? Probably not. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Truth Talks, the podcast that brings you real strategies for sustainable fitness transformation. I'm Courtney, and as always, this is my brother, Paris. Paris, I don't know about you, but I've been having a lot of conversations recently where I ask somebody, hey, what are you more interested in right now? Like workouts, nutrition. Someone I'm just starting to get to know. They're kind of starting to tell me a little bit about their fitness journey, and they say workouts. I'm like, cool. Do you have a specific goal for your workouts, or like what's going on with that? And they'll say weight loss. And it kind of got me thinking, because we've covered a lot before about how nutrition is such a huge part of weight loss, right? But there's a lot of people out there that I think are struggling to get consistent with their workouts. That's a challenge. And they're also trying to lose weight. So it sparked this idea in my head of like, could you actually lose weight without workouts? I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this. We'll take kind of some bits and pieces that we had in the "Can you lose weight through exercise alone" episode that we did, which will be good. But I think this is also a timely conversation because with all the talk around like peptides and GLP-1s and stuff like that, people are thinking, "Oh, let me just take these and not work out because I can still lose weight." That's like
Right.
something that crosses their mind of like, "Oh, now that we got these drugs, I'm just going to take that, lose weight, and like I'll be good." So I think we need to address this for that as a main reason as well of like why it's not just and we're going to touch on this more in depth, but why even if you can lose weight without the gym or without training, doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned the gym and training. So let's talk about what we mean when we say working out in the title. And because that's going to be, I think, part of the foundation. Because working out could be like any exercise, it could be endless cardio, it could be strength training. So for the purpose of our conversation today, we are going to talk more specifically about working out as gym and strength training.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. But
Lifting
I
weights,
think
using cables, using resistance training, strength training, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Mhm. But I think if you are interested in the role of like exercise in general for weight loss, definitely go check out that episode we did on can you lose weight through exercise alone? Because that actually talks more specifically about the challenges of like trying to do just like cardio workouts to
hmm
lose weight and why that can actually be quite inefficient. So if you are
Yes.
somebody who's like, hey, yeah, no, I am getting the workouts done and I'm doing a lot of cardio and I'm struggling with weight loss, go check out that episode because that creates that I guess more of the synergy between the cardio side of exercise and weight loss.
Yes. 100%. Honestly, probably one of the best episodes we've done in terms of like changing belief systems that people might have surrounding like fat loss and stuff. So it's an important
Oh,
one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we're so entrenched to see like this idea of sweating is what's the line? Sweat is fat crying,
Yeah,
right?
which is
Like
so
it's
false.
so ridiculous. Because no, sweat is your body trying to cool down its body temperature, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
anyways, separate combo. But let's talk about, can you actually lose weight through just workouts as like
hmm
gym and strength training? Because so many people, when they set a weight loss goal, think, I got to get to the gym. I'm going to step foot in the gym. I'm going to start exercising. But if they're struggling to get to the gym, does that mean that they cannot lose weight?
No, it's definitely. We're going to list like a laundry list of reasons why you should train when you're in a weight loss goal. But you can for sure lose weight without exercise. Okay.
Absolutely. And why? Why though? Let's explain that for a second.
Yeah, because as we've said a bajillion times, like if you are in a calorie deficit and you're consistently burning more calories than you are consuming, like you will lose weight, and
hmm
that's why people that take these, medications, fat loss medications, all that they're doing essentially is reducing their appetite significantly, right? So and overly
Or their food
simplifying, but
intake via,
yeah,
somehow calorie consumption goes
so
down.
so oversimplifying, but essentially they're reducing their food intake, which means that they end up burning more calories than they're consuming on an ongoing basis, which leads to weight loss. So yes, you absolutely can lose weight without exercise.
Yeah. And I think what you're referring to, when you're burning more calories than you consume, that's the calorie deficit, which a lot of people know
Yes.
is important for weight loss. But the thing that we talked about in that past episode as well is when we say burning more calories, that's not mostly through exercise, right? 70+% of that is through you just existing in your daily
hmm
activities. Actually, it's more closer to 85%, right? So you can expend most of the vast majority of the calories you expend are not from exercise, right?
Hmm.
And it's a lot easier to manipulate the calories coming into your body and create that deficit through nutrition. So if we are
Absolutely.
just thinking about energy balance, meaning calories in, calories out, and creating a calorie deficit, which obviously there's different factors at play with each of those that are very individualized. But from that equation perspective, 1000%, you will lose body weight if you maintain that consistency of a
Definitely.
calorie deficit.
Definitely, especially since like the biggest contributor is just like your overall body weight. So if you're starting at a higher body weight,
Hmm.
higher body fat percentage, like it doesn't take a lot to get the ball rolling in a lot of instances. So even just like manipulating your calories, even if you weren't training or starting working out or anything, like you could probably still see some quick wins with weight loss specifically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then, okay, that sounds easier, right? Okay, if we take having to get to the gym out of the equation, we're like, cool, I don't need to schedule time for my workouts. I can just focus on eating and I'm good to go. I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Why would we? I think it's pretty clear from how we opened this.
Yeah.
We would
Yeah.
not recommend that, right?
Definitely
Just
not.
because you can, this is a prime example of just because you can doesn't mean you should,
Hmm.
right? Like
Hmm.
you can absolutely lose weight without working out, but there are a lot of consequences of doing that. Um, let's talk about what you're kind of giving up if you do that. If you are like, I'm not going to work out.
Okay, so the number one thing to touch on before we even talk about physique in general is just all of the health related goals that come along with training. Okay, we're talking
Yeah,
about bone density, we're talking about your cardiovascular health, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about the whole kit and caboodle of all these benefits that come with
stress
resistance training.
response, immune
Yeah,
system response, like everything.
insulin sensitivity, blood
Yes,
sugar regulation, like any positive thing that you would receive through training, you wouldn't get.
right.
Yeah.
There is a huge opportunity cost when it comes to pursuing weight loss without some form of training and working out because it actually doesn't even matter if you have a weight loss goal. All of the health benefits of resistance training and structured resistance training, any form of resistance training, are the health benefits are clear, weight loss goal or not. So if you are choosing to pursue weight loss and foregoing all of those benefits, okay, you are foregoing a major, major, major pillar of health.
100%. And that's like a massive one. And then obviously the second one that comes in is we as humans typically when we say we have a weight loss goal is because, we want to improve things including the way that we look. Okay.
Body
But
composition,
body
right?
composition, right? Our physique, like how we fit in our clothes, our dimensions, things like that. The issue we run into if we're only focused on weight is that we don't walk around with our scale weight taped to our forehead. I've used this line before, but we walk around with our silhouette and our body, right? So
Mm,
ultimately, what happens is when we lose weight but we don't train, the shape of our body doesn't really look the way that we thought it would or that we want it to,
mhm, mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
And I know I was going to say, and again, like we are both very aware that people might be starting at different body compositions, right?
Hmm.
So, like, if somebody has a lot of weight to lose, that's different than if somebody is, maybe just slightly overweight or just wants to look a little bit leaner for their own personal
Yeah.
desires, right? So, you have to individualize that. But overall, it is quite common to think, oh, I don't actually have the shape I want just because I lost body weight. Because, like, I'll say that even happened to me, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Even
the
when you
first
were training.
even when I was yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Even when I was training, I was working out and I went through my first, like, my biggest fat loss, my first biggest structured fat loss phase, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, damn, I don't have the shape. I don't have the glutes. I don't have the shoulders. I don't have the shape on me that I wanted. So that was
Hmm.
something I even experienced. And I didn't start from a super overweight or very heavy
Yeah.
body composition. So, anyways, all that to say, no matter where you're starting from in terms of your current physique, it is a common thing that we hear from people is when you start to lose weight, you realize you don't have maybe the same shape that you were originally aiming for in mind.
Definitely, definitely. And even if you do have some shape of muscle
Hmm.
underneath when you start, if you're not training, all that muscle, well, not all, but a lot of that muscle is going to go. And that's where, going back to kind of the weight loss medications, when people don't train and eat enough protein and things like that, but they take these and they reduce their appetite and start losing a lot of weight, they don't end up with a great look. And some people, I don't want to be rude, but some people call it, Ozempic face or Ozempic butt or stuff like that, right? But essentially, what they're getting at is that you lost weight very quickly, but you lost a lot of muscle with that.
The most
And
shocking stat, I just want to throw out the stat that
yeah,
surprised me when I first read it, right? And I'm going to put a caveat at the end of this, but the research that came out around weight loss without resistance training interventions, and also oftentimes without sufficient protein, because those two things go hand in hand for muscle retention, is up to 40% of the weight, the body weight that you lose, can be not fat, meaning can be other tissue from your body, including muscle, right?
Yeah.
So that shocked me. Imagine like, okay, you're like, I lost 20 pounds. Okay. 40% of that is 8. No? Yes, 8. So imagine now you're like, okay, I lost 20 pounds, and 8 pounds of that wasn't body fat. It was muscle and other things.
Yeah, yeah. That
That
would be
that
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's just yet another reason why like focusing just on the scale is not that effective. Well, it's effective to a certain point, but there also are risks with just chasing a lower and lower and lower number, even when you have a weight loss goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think inherently everybody just wants to look better,
Hmm.
and if you're not training, again, you're not going to have the type of body that you think you have, even if you lose a lot of the weight, right? So
Hmm.
I think we need to start thinking about, okay, how do I optimize my body composition and how do I optimize just my physique in general versus how do I lose as much weight as possible? There's a different question, and sometimes a lot of times the weight loss is going to come with that, but there's other things that we need to think about, including giving a good training stimulus so we
Hmm.
have some muscle and some shape.
Right. And even like you were talking about GLP-1s and stuff as well, right? Like there is a huge risk to go through it is a dramatic intervention. Let's not
Hmm.
like I'm not going to hide that. A weight loss drug is a dramatic intervention, and especially because it does provoke a quick response. So when you are more quickly losing weight, whether that is through a weight loss drug or even through like crash dieting or something, like all those people out there that are like, I'm just going to eat salads for 3 weeks, or like I'm going to cut all carbs and like eat 900 calories, whatever it is. Those interventions, anything drastic, also increases the potential for muscle loss, right?
Hmm.
You the more quickly
Just
you
wait. Yeah.
lose weight, yeah, the more risk there is that some of that weight coming off is muscle mass as well. So with like any sort of intervention where you are, I'm just relying on my diet, I'm just going to focus on nutrition, whatever that is, whether you're doing something dramatic that we wouldn't necessarily align with,
Hmm.
or you're doing something that we would align with, I think it's really important that you consider maintaining your training and maintaining your protein intake
Yeah.
to make sure that you're not losing that muscle mass along the way. And
100%.
and that's why they say like GLP-1s are best paired with lifestyle interventions. If you are somebody
Hmm.
who is considering that path, the lifestyle interventions are like so important
Hmm.
for that muscle maintenance. But
Exactly.
can I also just throw something out there? Like, because we started this conversation with why we wouldn't recommend just weight loss through
Hmm.
nutrition and no strength training is because you're giving up a lot of health benefits. Okay. But if somebody's thinking like, well, I actually don't care if I lose muscle mass, whatever, as long as I'm losing the body fat, we have a counter argument for that too, which is there are also health benefits to having muscle on your body. So yes,
Oh,
there's,
for
sorry,
sure.
I know you can go on
Yeah.
and on. We can both go on and on
Yeah.
about this, but like, so yes, there's the health benefits of physically engaging in strength training, which
Hmm.
we outlined up the top. But there's also the health benefits of maintaining muscle mass on your body. You want to talk about that?
Yes. Yeah. I think especially for people getting older or aging as well.
Hmm.
I mean, for everybody, but
Everybody.
especially in that population, like how mobile do you want to be and how strong you want to be and quote unquote functional, as you get older. You
Hmm.
probably want that. And I think muscle is just something that just in itself keeps us so metabolically healthy, as we talked about before, like things like blood sugar control, and just a laundry list of, of
Yeah.
benefits to just
Yeah. Yeah.
having more muscle in terms of just longevity, anti aging, functionality, like you name it.
And you mentioned metabolically healthy, like muscle is also a big driver of metabolism, and
Yeah.
it uses energy in your
Yeah.
body, right? So when people talk about metabolism, they forget that muscle is a big part of that. Well, not a big part, but it's a
Yeah.
contributing
It is a
factor.
part. Yeah.
It's a part. But
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
like, no, I was just gonna say, like you talked about the functional parts of aging. Women already after the age of 30 start losing muscle mass naturally, right? So, okay, so now you couple that natural rate of loss, which is something like 8% per decade, and then you also bring in like, okay, we're going to lose more muscle mass because we're going through weight loss, like that can actually become quite dramatic, right?
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
trading off things like um, the risk of osteoporosis goes up when you don't have muscle mass because muscle is attached to bone and things like that, right? So that is really, really important to consider as part of the health benefits of having muscle on your body, not just of I'm resistance training, I'm also maintaining my muscle mass.
Yes. Because like training is a stimulus that tells our body to keep the muscles or to
Yes.
grow new ones, right?
Hmm.
So we remove that, our body's like, all right, that was kind of energetically costly having all that muscle. So like, see you later. We'll lose that, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's yeah, something to think about. And I think, we talked a lot about kind of health of not only resistance training in itself, but also having muscle.
Hmm.
But kind of going back to the more kind of aesthetic version and
Hmm.
body composition version of the conversation. If you are maybe going from, very heavy, high body fat percentage to then, just trying to lower that, I could see why you're like, I don't really care about the muscle aesthetically. I just want to be, lighter. I just want to be smaller, quote unquote, is something we've heard before.
May I
Uh,
interject you quickly? Sorry. Just
yes,
and also in those cases, you are probably likely to maybe lose a little bit less muscle because your body has enough energy reserves
true.
through body fat
Yeah.
to, to drop that first, right?
Yeah, which is true. But at a certain point, I do think we not only need to look at the health things, but also it's like, okay, well, later on in the journey, what
Mm.
is the most what habits do we want in place? Because, like, for example, if I was trying to get lean right now, starting from already relatively lean, and then I just ate a lot less food, even if I was eating enough protein, but I didn't work out, like I would become a string bean essentially. Okay,
Oh
and
my gosh, I love that. I love where you're going with this. Keep going.
yeah, so it's like even if we're at that point where we're very heavy, very high body fat percentage, we said, okay, we could just lose some weight for now. But like, what about later when you're kind of getting leaner, right? And you
Hmm.
you do want to kind of take it even to the next level, but now you have no habits, no training experience, you don't have a lot of muscle on you. It's like it's going to be another kind of big like change
Hmm.
for you to now implement this versus if you kind of did it the whole way down, you'd be such a better spot. And then to get to that next level, if you're not training, then you're really going to see the difference in the look.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
again, when you're starting a high body fat percentage and you go to a healthy body fat percentage, you might not see the difference whether you're holding muscle or not. But when you go from healthy body fat percentage to like lean,
Hmm.
it's a significant difference in how you're going to look. And there you're going to be like, wow, I wish I were.
What was also really important in what you said was like what habits you want to have and whether or not those are habits to support physique development down the road. Because again, it's a lot easier to be like, okay, like I already am doing these things. I just keep doing them versus now what's next? What do I have to think about? Learning, right? So, yes, for physique change, absolutely. But even just for the habits of living a healthy lifestyle where you are already like, if you are losing weight to become a healthier human, why would you not then pair that with the
Yeah.
routines that are part of that healthy lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
And like it just yeah, the habituation of it is so important.
Yeah. It's kind of like trying to eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich, but only having the peanut butter, something's
Oh,
missing. You want to
PBN
peanut butter.
blank.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
I mean, I love peanut butter on toast too, but like if you
Yeah,
want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you need the
yeah,
peanut butter and the jelly, right?
yeah. So
Great
just
analogy.
again, there's like a billion reasons why you should be training if you have a weight loss goal, and I think it goes to that conversation of like fat loss versus weight loss,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's
Mhm.
kind of where we're headed next. Is like people say they want weight loss, but reality, I think we all want fat loss. If we really took a step back and thought about it.
Yeah, and so what is the difference? Like let's just put it bluntly. What's the difference
Yeah.
between weight loss and fat loss?
Weight loss, the number on the scale is going down. Okay. Fat loss is we are losing body fat and maintaining the muscle. So
Mhm.
as the scale weight is likely trending down, like we are, keeping our muscle and just, our body's taking the energy stores from body fat. And if you're newer to training or you haven't optimized your variables, even if you've been training for a while, you can even put on some muscle as you lose fat, right? So now we're
We
at
did
a
that
point
episode too.
which we talked about. Yep,
Mhm.
we've done it all. So at that point, you're like foregoing that new gains that you could potentially make. Even as you get lighter, you could be building even muscle. How amazing would that be? That's like the most amazing thing in fitness. And if you don't train, you're never going to get that.
Yeah. We have historically talked about fat loss in some contexts and weight loss in other contexts. And
Hmm.
sometimes, we conflate the two. But
Yeah.
the reason why we've done that, in case it hasn't been clear to anybody who's listened before, or maybe you're new to the podcast, you're tuning in now, is the fat loss portion is through the lens of trying to maintain muscle, but trying to just reduce your body fat percentage. That's really what it kind of comes down to, right? We want to reduce the body fat percentage or how much body fat we're carrying. And in some cases, that coincides with weight loss. In most cases, it does because if you're losing body fat, you're losing something, some form of
Hmm.
mass off of your body, right?
Hmm.
Which is, I think, why they get used so interchangeably. But when you do start to look at like photos and visual evidence and things like that. Like you're saying, like the shape of your body. Two people who weigh the same can look completely different,
Absolutely.
right?
Even the same
Even the
person at
same
the same
person.
body weight, like between time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think it's just keeping in mind that, let's say, even if you do not have an aesthetic goal, right? We've talked so much about like physique, and because that's what we do, right? We talk about how to change your body composition. But even if you don't have that, like seeking out fat loss instead of weight loss can be helpful for all those other benefits of maintaining muscle that we talked about. So I encourage everybody to start using the language around fat loss more often. People who have weight loss goals, of course, weight loss can still be talked about. But I think just keeping in mind that what you really want or what you're hoping to achieve through weight loss is fat loss. That's what you're trying to do. The weight loss component is just supporting your fat loss goal.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 4 key reasons that we've talked about as to why you probably should not just lose weight without working out, right? The first one is that working out, and again, our definition of working out here is strength training focused, has a number of health benefits in itself. So by ignoring that entirely, you're just completely ignoring all the health benefits of actually resistance training. That's number one. The second one is that if you do have physique oriented goals, then you want to have the shape that muscle provides, which you need training to be able to achieve that. There's no doubt about that. So, any sort of physique oriented goals and thinking about if you want to quote unquote look better, then you do need to have the the training aspect to have muscle on your body. The third reason why you should not lose weight without working out is just the benefits that having muscle on your body actually has. So, beyond the aesthetics, all of the health related benefits, whether that's to metabolism or aging, any or just day to day functionality, all of those things, muscle has an important role to play. And the fourth one is that if you are looking to live a healthy lifestyle, getting in the habit of working out is part of that, right? It's being consistent with exercise to unlock all the benefits we spoke about in point number one, right? And just making sure that that's an active part of your lifestyle, because getting consistent and figuring out how to mentally get yourself to the gym, how to physically get yourself to the gym or work out from home, whatever it is, that is a skill in itself and it takes time. And so don't delay building that skill to unlock the habits of that healthy lifestyle. Summary? How'd
Good
I do?
stuff. Pretty damn good summary. The other like small one I'm going to add is, and we talked about this in the other episode, but it's like, even though resistance training doesn't burn a lot of calories, okay, it still burns some.
Hmm.
Me being 180 pounds, for example, with tons of muscle versus me being 180 pounds with no muscle, there's a difference in what my body's, how many calories per day my body's going to burn. So even if it's not a massive difference in the calorie expenditure day to day, there is some additional calories that you will burn from A, training, and B, having more muscle. So like you will be able to kind of get away, quote unquote, with slightly higher calories.
That's true,
Slightly.
right? Even if you're only burning like, let's say theoretically, and we don't have an exact way to calculate this, we know, but let's say you're theoretically only burning like 150 calories
Yeah.
extra
Even
from
maybe
your weight,
even less,
from
but
probably, yeah, if we're talking about the net of like you're going to burn
yeah.
calories anyways from existing, let's say 100. Okay.
Yeah.
If now you've had an extra 100 calories of expenditure to your day, that's one, an extra 100 calories you can eat while maintaining the same deficit,
Hmm.
or overall just like accelerating the process just a little bit more. Because over the
Yeah.
course of,
Yeah.
let's say you train 4 times a week, it's an extra 400 calories in that week that you just expended. So
Hmm.
you're right. It's
Something.
not the
There's
thing to
something.
rely
Yeah.
on, but there's something there. Amazing. Okay. So to anybody who is listening, hopefully you made it this far. If you are, thank you. We appreciate you. Thinking about, okay, well, I'm feeling like working out is a struggle for me right now, but I still want to lose weight. Where do they go from here, right? We've just highlighted how important it is. But if they can't work out, or if they're feeling like it's a struggle to get their workouts done, should they just start losing weight or like anyways? Or what should they do?
I think they need to get over some self-limiting beliefs around training. First things first. That's what I would
Mhm.
say. But also recognize like it can, especially if you're going from zero, you could even hit like 2 full body workouts a week.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you can't find the time for 2 full body workouts, you probably just, this is not a priority for you, which is okay. Right. If
Mhm.
it's not, but you're saying it is, and this person
Mhm.
is saying, this theoretical person is saying it is. So like if you literally started with 2 full body workouts or 3 very quick ones, I mean, that's all you need. Like the dose doesn't have to be this massive dose of training throughout the whole week, 6, 7 days of
Mhm.
training. Like I
Mhm.
think people greatly underestimate a few sets per week per muscle group, spread between 3 sessions, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
right? It doesn't need to be crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think the challenge people have is they think, okay, if I want to lose weight, I have to work out every day. It's or 6 days a week, right? That's not the case. And that's probably the biggest mental barrier, right? So your nutrition, yes, focus on that every single day. Absolutely. Because you need to be consistent there. 100%. But peppering in, like, I think peppering in your workouts, like you said, 2, 3 times a week, great. And if you want help figuring out, okay, well, how do I make sure I'm efficient with workouts 2, 3 times a week, hit us up. Like, we will help you design the workout plan that makes sense for you if you have, only 2 or 3 days a week to work out. But I think it's just making sure that it doesn't become all or nothing, right? If you do have a weight loss goal, workouts are 100% important, but it doesn't mean that you have to work out every single day either,
Yep. Exactly.
because
There
that
we go.
that that's the real thought holding you back from making progress, in my opinion.
For sure.
Cool.
For sure.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you lose weight without workouts? Theoretically, yes. Do you want to? Probably not, right? For all
Mhm.
of the reasons that we've talked about today.
Yep.
Now, if you have a weight loss goal or just a fat loss goal in general, or you just have a goal of figuring out how to balance your nutrition and your workouts for any fitness goal right now, we are here to help you determine the right sort of prioritization. If you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be back in your feeds with another episode of Truth Talks next Monday. Bye for now.